Each of you, my friends, are leaders of tomorrow. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, welcome guests. Not all of you are in leadership roles, but that does not mean you're not leaders. For your entire lives, you've been preparing yourselves for leadership. You've even been part of a leadership team and may have not even known it. Please allow me to tell you about my recent trip to Japan. 5 of us left for the slippery slopes of Japan. None of us with a designated role, but each of us brought something unique to the team. Jake had been to the resort before, and in the first few days when we had whiteout conditions, his knowledge of the slopes and experience made navigating down the hills effortless and stress-free. Clint, although only one of many medics on the trip, was the go-to guy for the meds. So whether it was a sore back, or aching knees, or throbbing head from too much sake, Clint was the man to see. Sam made full use of her 25-kilo luggage allowance, as well as whatever the rest of her boyfriend's bag. Now this came in handy because the extra socks, thermals, ski goggles, and mask came in handy, especially for those who only packed half a bag. As for the food, it was I who made sure that every person on the team woke up with a hot breakfast consisting of bacon, eggs, and toast each and every morning. Collectively, as a committee, we brought together different skills together in a way that worked towards a comfortable, stress-free, and enjoyable holiday. Now, some roles in the committee bear a little bit more responsibility than others. As you guys progress in your competent communicator manual, you will learn how to effectively communicate to your audience. As a secretary of a committee, one needs to be able to communicate important information so that everybody is on the same page. For example, ending up on the same mountain, at the same village, on the same day. Alex Hofer played this role just perfectly. In fact, it was her initial Facebook message that brought all of us together. She organized communications with the rest of the committee. She facilitated the organization of accommodations and transport to and from the airport. In the weeks prior, the committee received an appropriate amount of information. We received information about the available lift passes and which resorts to reserve our equipment. Between the 5 of us, various methods of payment were used. Alex took record, and similar to a set of minutes, she summarized what was owed by whom. In a management committee, other office-bearing roles require a greater level of responsibility and leadership skills. I argue, however, for those of you who think that some of these roles are out of your reach, they're really within your grasp. Allow me to tell you about some of my highlights of our Japan trip. On the first day of skiing, we planned to meet our friend Clint for lunch. So at the top of Niseko, we planned a route down the center, underneath Quad Chair, down to Red Run, and to the information center. Now, along the way, through the whiteout conditions, I made my way down to the mountain center. I found it a bit interesting. Why would a mountain call the information center and the mountain center by the same name? How confusing. After 10 to 15 minutes of waiting, it only took me a split second to realize that I was lost. In a slight panic, I approached the first white local and asked him, how do I get to the information center? Through his description of how to get there, it confirmed to me I indeed was in the wrong place. So I grabbed my skis, rode up the pear lift, rode down to where the rest of the group were waiting. I looked anxious for keeping everybody waiting. Alex looked relieved that I was all right. And Sam, well, Sam looked a bit confused while I was holding somebody else's skis. Wait, it gets better. After returning the skis, meeting Clint for hot ramen, we hit the slopes. On the very, very first run back, as I pulled and twisted to bring the guard bar down, my left ski hit the ski lift. Yes, I was the one that they stopped the entire ski lift for. Doesn't end there. En route back to tropical North Queensland, it was I who was responsible for accommodations. We arrived late in Osaka, and all we wanted to do was rest our heads on our pillows. So we followed the instructions like a treasure map and got to the treasure box. But inside the treasure box lay no treasure. Either the key was an invisible ninja key, or it wasn't there. By this time, we had missed our last train to the airport. We couldn't get a hotel room because all the accommodations were booked because it was Easter and it was Sakura. Even the hostels wouldn't take slime like us. So, after hearing my story of competence, instead of asking yourselves, how can this clown be the president of an association responsible for the marketing of the entire Queensland dive industry, you should ask yourself, why can't I be president? Ladies and gentlemen, being part of a committee is not a scary proposition. Each and every one of you have been practicing to be on one all your life. All you need is the passion and desire to lead those around you to a better outcome. Without the efforts of a management committee, the organizations in which we all take for granted will cease to exist. In the upcoming months, Mount Sheridan's Toastmasters will be asking for nominations for the management committee. This is your opportunity to put your hand up and say, I'm a competent leader, and I want the best for those around me. Mr. Toastmaster.